Well, ladies, I'd like to welcome you to our fourth module of Authentic Offers that Transform and Sell. And today we are covering key messages and package part 1. So there's a lot of really amazing stuff that I'll be covering today. There's probably a bit more content in this module than last week, but I think we're at the point where we're ready for that. So today we're going to focus, as I said, on packaging. And the first step of packaging is creating your key messages. And key messages are all about helping you explain what you do in a very simple way so that people can understand that and will find you memorable. From there, I'm going to be then moving on to speak about the package principles. So how you can transform your offer that you've created into a great offer so you can reach more people. And what I'm talking about here is giving you some guidance on how to turn your offer into creating an online course or workshop or series of workshops. And I'm also going to be talking about mapping out a sales funnel that's authentic to you. So I'm going to explain to you how you can then bring your audience along on the journey with you. And then next week, which is the final part of package, I'm going to be explaining to you how to create an opt-in or a freebie or a free gift. It's a lead magnet. There's so many different names for it so that you can build your list and land your clients. Now, that is something that I'll be covering next week, so I won't be covering that today, but that's what's coming up in the package segment. So today is really about focusing on your key messages and the package principle and how to map out a sales funnel that is authentic to you. And next week is the opt-in. So let me just really focus now on helping you understand how to create amazing key messages for yourself and your business. So the first thing you might be saying to me is, well, what are key messages? What are they all about? Well, I like to liken them to the foundations of a house, because just like just as we know that a really well-built house that's going to stand the test of time, we know that that house needs a really solid foundation. The same goes with your communication and marketing for your business. You need to have just a really strong set of key messages that you will use all the time to explain who you are, what you do, and what you're offering to your audience. So if last week we were looking and talking about your offer, and that is the thing that you want people to buy from you, your messages will contain your offer, but they'll also expand on that. So, and what they do is they differentiate who you are, what you do, and the benefits of that to your audience. So in many ways I like to, and this is a technique that I have used, it's a really world's best practice technique. It's a technique that's used by agencies globally, and it's really designed to help you just really encapsulate what you do in a way that's easy for you to remember and easy for people to remember about you. And the way that I like to liken it, it's, one analogy is the house foundations. Another analogy that I like to use with people is this notion of umbrellas. Your key messages are almost like 3 umbrella themes that capture all of the information about you and your business and that help you make sense of it to your audience. And you might be saying to me, and I've said it now a couple of times, there are only ever 3 key messages. And you might be wondering, well, why are there only 3? Why wouldn't we have 2 or 10 or 6? And it's all about making things memorable. So there is a discipline in only creating 3. And the reason that we have only 3 messages is that as human beings, we remember things in patterns of 3. So if you think about your mobile phone number, it's actually a 10-digit number that you remember in a set of 3. So my number, for example, is 0402 314 906. So I always remember it in that set of 3. And the reason that we do this, it's just, they say, the research shows that we start recognizing a pattern when we get to 3, and also it's easy for us to remember things in 3s. So this is why I'm explaining why we would do key messages in 3. And I have over the years, I've seen people, different communicators and marketers try to do less or more. But when you start having things like 5 or 6 key messages, it's very, very hard for you as the business owner to remember those. And it's even harder for your audience, with all of the information that they've got coming to them, to remember those messages about you. So we've got to make it really, really simple. And that's what this is designed to do. Now, you might be saying, well, but I've got all this other information about my business that I want people to remember about me. And what we do is we actually just arrange all of those supporting facts, or what we call proof points, under each message. So that's how we organize that. And then what you can do is then tailor those facts to the different audiences that you might have. So this notion of key messages is very important for your business, and it's also actually useful for you. It's also actually quite useful if you've got a particular offer. You might want to develop your 3 key messages about your offer. But for today, I'd just like to keep focusing on your key messages for your business. So in summary, this technique is gold for every single piece of communication you have with your audience. You'll find yourself using your key messages at speaking events, at meetings, when you've got to create a flyer, for your website, particularly important for your website, and also when you're speaking informally to people. You might be see people at a barbecue on the weekend or at an event or a function, and people will say, what have you been up to lately? And you can use your key messages to explain that. But the big thing here that I really have to reinforce is that consistency is key. You need to be repeating your key messages everywhere you go. Every time that you're speaking about your business, you need to be repeating them. Because I think if you remember the research I've quoted previously, people need to have anywhere between 5 to 9 touch points to, in terms of be finding you memorable, and before they'll actually buy from you. So it's the same concept with your key messages. They need to hear from you 5 to 9 times about you, and they need to hear these same key messages from you. So how do we create them? I'm going to show you now the process for creating them, and then I'm going to give you an example. Show you a couple of little examples of key messages so you can get what I'm talking about. So how do we create them? Firstly, we go back to our audience research, which is why I've been banging on in the whole course about audience research, because we need this for this piece now as well. And you look at that research and what your audience found important or was invaluable to them, and you look at that information and you say to yourself, what are the 3 things you'd like your audience to remember about you in relation to what was important to them? So you draw out this information. And if nothing else, you think, what would you like your audience to take away after seeing you speak, perhaps looking at your sales page or your website? This is what I talk about when I'm talking about key messages. It's what are those 3 takeaways? So after they've heard you speak or after they've read your website, what would you like them to remember about you? And we only want them to be 3 key things. I'm going to give you some really good guidelines in terms of how to create them. So your 3 key messages are this. So your first one will be about how you help your audience. So I help my audience to blah, 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 blah. The specific benefits of your work. So when people work with me, they find that they can, and whatever benefits they are. And then your key point of difference or viewpoint, why you do what you do. So this is quite useful in terms of helping you differentiate yourself, and you differentiate yourself in your market. And also your point of view is really, really important in terms of when you might perhaps being interviewed by a journalist. So this last key message, if you could think about, imagine you were going to be interviewed by someone for a magazine, perhaps for Frankie or Peppermint or Dumbo Feather, and they were going to interview you about what you're doing in your business and why. This 3rd key message would be your viewpoint. So I'll give you an example of that in a moment, but I was working with one of my clients, Paul, the other day, and we're actually talking about he's my client who's a buyer's agent, and he runs a boutique buyer's agency versus there are some other quite big buyers agencies in Brisbane. And we were dealing with this as potentially a sales objection. And I said, well, just give me a point of view about why you're a boutique agency. Why did you can't get into business? And when I asked him that question, his viewpoint, it really opened up a really interesting discussion about why a small agency and boutique buyer's agency was actually so much better than a larger one. And by asking that question, I said to him, give me your point of view. It gave us a lot of really good quality information. And he was able to say, well, working with me in a small agency, you get to work with a principal. You also get lower overheads, and you're not just a number. You're someone who's very important to me. I have a limited client list. I only take X number of clients at a time. So you know that when you're working with me, you're one of a small group who get my personalized attention. So there are a whole lot of benefits from that point of view, but it was me asking that question, what is your viewpoint? So for each of you watching this, I'd really like you to think about, what's your viewpoint about why you do what you do? Why is this important? Why is this important to you? And that will often be the starting point for your point of view. But this is a really important question because it actually gives a lot of depth and a lot of meaning to your work. It helps fill out your messages, and it also, when you're going to speak with people, you've got a really strong and solid base to be working from. So that's the point there. So now we've got a worksheet in the members area that you can access, and I give you these specific questions and I give you some specific guidance. And at the end of this presentation, we'll go back out and we'll have a quick look at that key message worksheet for you to have a look at before we close this module. But I wanted to give you some examples. Now, this is this example format. So at X, we help you to Y. So this could be at XY Yoga Studio, we help you to blah, blah, blah. So that's as simple as your key message could be around what you do. Now, what you'll notice here is that with this key message, there's going to be a lot of similarity to your offer, because this key message will generally be about what you're offering your audience. So the core issues, and so that's what the message will be. So it's a strong statement. And I also want to highlight that your key message needs to be as short and as pithy as possible. We don't want this to be 3 sentences. We want this to be, at X we help you to Y. So it needs to be as simple and as short and as sweet as you can possibly get it. Knowing that you can then start telling your story about that message under the supporting facts. So, and I've really given this to you as a paint by numbers. So in the first supporting fact, you would address the core issues faced by your audience. And this is where you'd go back to your audience research and you would have a look at what are the issues that your audience said that they were facing. And then you actually write some points about that here. So I've given you an example here. So do you ever feel as though your life is go, 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 and that you're running from one commitment to the other? Do you often feel like you're the last person on your to-do list with very little time for relaxation or me time, or any energy to exercise? So here I've taken one of my clients, one of the key issues that they were facing, and I've put this here as the core issue. The next point you would make in your supporting facts is you would want to empathize and normalize that for your audience. So you say something like, and I use these words a lot, if you do feel that way, you're not alone. So empathy. We understand normalizing. We understand many people live very stressful lives with busy routines and many commitments. So we're helping people feel not bad about that issue, and that they're certainly not alone. And then the next supporting fact will actually provide the solution. So at X, we offer Y. Our classes and workshops will help you feel blah, 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 blah. And you would then put in some benefit statements there. And then the final supporting fact you would put in here would be some core benefits. So our small class sizes mean you'll get the one-on-one attention you deserve. So here you can see I'm talking about a benefit. We have small class sizes, but you need to explain the benefit of small class sizes to people. And I'm going to talk a little bit more later on in the class about what I call landing the benefits. But here you say our small class size means you'll get the one-on-one attention you deserve. So a small class, otherwise if I didn't explain that benefit, people go, well, so what? So what about a small class size? Why should I care about that? And so we always want to answer the so what question. So our small class sizes mean you'll get the one-on-one attention you deserve. And we know from the audience research we did for this client that people wanted one-on-one attention because they're quite nervous about these classes. So that would be an example of how your first key message could look. So very paint by numbers, very straightforward. If you've done your audience research well, this is going to be a piece of cake for you to write. The second key message is in just 60 minutes a week will help you to blah, blah, blah. And this is where you put in your benefits. So at X, we truly believe in the transformation Y can bring to your life. Attending one 60-minute class per week will help you, and we'll put in some benefits, and then put in further benefits of the service. So at the physical level, our X will help you so you can Y. So again, we'll help you do this so that you can Y. So again, this is just, again, paint by numbers. If you understand the benefits of your offer and you're really committed to that, and you understand how you can help people, this is where you'll put all of the benefits of what your offer is. And then the third key message is your point of view message. So at X, we're passionate about X and its ability to Y. So this is where you put in your philosophical viewpoint. So aside from the fitness benefits of yoga, we believe in, and whatever they believe in. And then you might put in your personal story here to prove this viewpoint. So you might have had an experience with it, but we're all of us our own best avatars. So you might have put in a personal story here about why you're passionate about that, or your journey so far, what has brought you to this. You could then, in this message, you'd put in your background biographical information to prove your experience and expertise. So you might have a degree, you might have a diploma or qualifications, or you might have worked for 20 years in your industry, or whatever it is that proves your experience and expertise in your space. You'd put that here. And then in this key message, you'd also put in details of the services that you offer. So it might be your offer of, it could be either you offer coaching, it could be that you offer particular health and wellbeing sessions. Whatever it is that you offer, you would list those things here. So that is a really good example. Those are, I guess, are three very much paint by numbers examples of how to do your key messages. And you can bring these into, you can marry up what you see here in the slides with what you see in the worksheet, which I'll show you a little bit later. So I'm quite excited about this because key messages are a really powerful technique, and I really thought about how I could teach this most effectively to you, and I think this should give you what you need to be able to create your own key messages. There is an opportunity, if you do want to do some work with me, you can book a one-on-one session with me where we can go through that. It will be extra to the course, but it would be perhaps quite useful to go through that with you. Now, one of the things that I spoke about earlier was about benefits, and I call this process landing your benefits. So what I mean here is that you need to make sure that your benefits are very clearly stated to your audience and that they're really tangible and real to your audience so that they mean something to them. So all of these words, everything you write in your key messages and also in your benefits, we want you to be using the language that you found in your audience research. So we really want you to be drawing on that. So and we really want to be bringing that out in terms of the benefits that you're going to be speaking about. So we want you to make sure your benefits make sure that your benefits are real and tangible to your audience, and explain exactly how you're going to help them. So I could say something along the lines of, my work gives you more clarity, but I haven't answered the so what question there at all, have I? So my work gives you more clarity, and you might go, clarity to do what? Clarity on what? But you could say, my work gives you more clarity so you can, and then it's basically fill in the blank. Make faster decisions in your business. Solve the sleeping issues you have with your child. Know the next step you need to take in your relationship. So you can see here that, again, these are just examples that I've given for in different types of practitioners and different types of industries, but it just shows you how you can write, and I'm writing here, the language that the audience would use. So people say, I'm stuck in my business, I can't seem to make fast or quick decisions. So you could say that, mums with children, with babies moving into toddler times can have issues with sleeping. So, and this is a friend of mine, she bought this program on how to solve sleeping issues for their child because Hugo just wasn't sleeping very well. And then, in a relationship program, then know the next step you need to take in your relationship. So you can see these are very tangible and very real benefits. So what I'd like you to do is, as you prepare your key messages and as you think about the benefits of what you do, please focus on how you can answer this so you can. And when you do this, you'll start to, you'll need to use this technique when you're writing your sales pages, when you're writing benefits on your website. Wherever you're writing your benefits, always answer the so you can question or the so what question. So what does that mean for me? And when you do that, this is a very, very powerful copywriting technique that I'm sharing with you. This will make your material, provided you use the language of your audience and you really highlight the benefits to them, it'll make your material and your copy so much more powerful for your audience, and it will actually engage them at a much higher level because they can see themselves in the copy and they can see the benefits of what they're receiving from you. So I guess I really want to emphasize this point, that I want you to really focus on writing your key messages, and then as you write your key messages, as you speak about your benefits inside your key messages, really explain the so what, answer the so what question, or answer the so you can question. So that's what I wanted to cover today in terms of key messages. So that really takes on board all of the work we've done so far in terms of the audience research, and really helps you package that up and helps you create your messages that you can then use on your website. As I said, when you're speaking with people, informally, when you're perhaps preparing a presentation at an event, or you're going to write a new sales page for your next offer. So you'll use these messages all the time. And you can use this technique all the time. So you'll use it for your business, but you can create key messages specifically about your offer, delve into that a bit more, and you can then do it every time you're doing something new. It's a really useful technique. I use the key message technique when I'm preparing for a big meeting. I think about, well, what are the 3 key messages I want people to take away after I've met with them from this meeting? So I use this technique all the time. You could use this technique when you think about writing your Facebook ads, when you think about even your preparing your content for your Facebook page, perhaps for your Facebook group. What are the 3 key messages? What I want people to always take away after they've had this experience with me, after they've been on my Facebook page, after they've been on my business page, after they've been in my group. So it's a really great technique, and it does work. And you'll find it makes everything so much easier, because you've developed a set of agreed key messages for yourself, and you're just going to just roll them out everywhere. And at the end of the presentation today, we'll go in and I'll show you that key message worksheet as well. So that's everything on key messages. Now I'd like to speak with you and explain to you about the package principle. So the package principle is about how you've done your work on your offer, you've got that created, and now you want to actually really take that offer and take it from being good to great. So how do we do that? And why do we do it? Well, we're doing it for a range of reasons. And when we talk about package principle, I'm really talking here about how you could package up what you know in preparation for an online course, or for a series of workshops, or maybe just for one workshop. But this technique will help you go through this process. So why would we do it? Well, firstly, we do it because we want to document your own process and your journey. As I said earlier, many of us are our own ideal clients, and we want to actually document that process so we can help others go through that process. You'll do it because you want to package up your IP in a way that's meaningful. You'll do it because you want to become known as an expert in your field. And this also, when you start packaging, it gives you an opportunity to sell more than a one-off session. So you can help your customers solve bigger problems. So instead of selling a one-off coaching session, you could sell a package of 6 to deal with particular issues. Maybe it's money blocks, maybe it's relationship issues, maybe it's mindset issues, whatever it is. But you can actually package and say, look, I work with people in a series of 6. I know at the end of 6 sessions they get this outcome. You're also doing this because you want to take your customers on a journey of transformation. You want to be working with them. We all know typically that there aren't that many quick fixes on earth. We typically, as human beings, we need to have a process of guidance and support to take us from point A to point B. So you want to take your customers on a whole journey of transformation, not just sort of an in and out, one-off kind of thing. And this is also going to allow you to serve more people and do it more effectively, because you're actually able to work with them over a longer period of time. The other area is that this allows you to do is it allows you to become more scalable. You can leverage your time, and you can take your work online to really basically help you. It can really help use your time in a much more effective way. So how do we do it? I've got a worksheet in the members area that's quite detailed that covers these questions that I'm about to cover now. So the first step is to come back to that question of transformation. And it's a question that I have, we've spoken about this when I spoke about how to create your offer. We need to answer this question here. If you're going to do a course or a program or a workshop, what is the transformation that your customer wants? What is it that they're looking for? So again, going back to our audience research, and we know that they need. What's the outcome that you're going to be delivering to people? So, and being aware here that there's probably, that there's a lot of things that your customers need. I want to really encourage you, please don't give away the farm in your first package. Focus on one transformation that can lead to others. So for example, my experience of the first round of Authentic Offers at Transform and Sell was that it was just too much to fit into 6 weeks. So what I've done is I have taken out the last quarter of the program because I felt it was just too much for people to consume, and I've slowed the delivery down, and people are able to, take that on board and are keeping up with the process a little more easily. The next step in package principle is to look at the journey that you're taking people on. So with this, think about what you might be doing one-on-one with people that you repeat regularly, because this is something that could go into this is something you could systemize or could go into your workshop or process. So write down those steps, write them all down, and then perhaps group them up. And there might be, say 100 things that you feel you might need to do with your client or customers. Write them all down and then group them up into a particular into logical groups that would work and be a logical flow for things. Ideally, what we're looking for you to have by the time that you've written everything down and then you've done your grouping is you'd have ideally 5 and no more than 7 steps. And the reason for that is that we want people to feel that this is doable for them, that the transformation, that they're on a journey and that the transformation is doable. And I really want to highlight here again, because again, this is something I'm guilty of. Watch over giving. Watch over delivery, because it can lead to overwhelm and confusion for your audience. Less is actually more, and my big theme, for the end of this year and into next year is around simplicity and just keeping it simple. So, and people love simplicity when you can give people a good outcome, a good transformation. It doesn't have to be war and peace. It can be something very simple that really creates a big breakthrough for them. So don't feel you've got to cram everything into the one course. And then think here about what's in your package after you've written down these steps. What's in your package that could be delivered one-on-one, or that you might think at this point needs to be delivered one-to-one, but does it really? Could some of these items that you might have on your list, could they be offered as a bonus rather than inside the actual course? And could they just be something that you could pull out of the main course so that you're keeping it as simple as you possibly can? The third step in packaging up your program is to think about how you can make your package as appealing as possible. What does your audience want? So we want to actually focus on that. And what are the outcomes of each step that you're looking for? So what are the outcomes of each step that you're providing? And what are the benefits of each step? Now, if you can answer these questions really well, this is going to give you all of the content you need for your sales page and your sales materials. So these are really important questions to ask yourself. This is, a segment of this course that you don't have to do straight away. This is something you could pick up, in a month or two's time. But what I would say to you is that you will need some time to work through this. I would say, come back a couple of times to work through this worksheet. But it is really valuable. The questions that I'm asking here are really valuable. And if you answer them well, you're going to be able to get a really, really good outcome. And you're going to have all the material you need to write your sales page. And again, when we're talking about benefits, remember you need to land those benefits, making them tangible and real. So really answering that so you can question, answering the so what question. Our fourth step in creating our package is to brand our package. So have a catchy action-based title that demonstrates a transformation. So with this course, it's authentic offers that transform and sell. So it's about having authentic offers, it's about having marketing from an authentic perspective and that are going to transform people's lives and that you're going to be able to sell. Another great name that I love of Amy Porterfield's is Webinars That Convert. I think that's a really great name. So once you've created the name for your package, you then need to name each step in the package. Ideally, I recommend with an action word. So you might even want to consider creating an acronym or using alliteration. So for me, I went with alliteration. So I went with purpose, people, package, and then promote. And that's actually the component of authentic offers that I've left out of the program this time because I just felt we needed to focus on these 3 elements inside authentic offers this time with the time we had. And what we want to do here with your package is we want to keep focused on results. So answering this, so add something special to help them say yes. So how do we do that? How do we get a yes? So think about the bonuses you can offer to increase the appeal of your offer. So you're going to see here some very similar material that I covered last week in how to create your offer. It's similar. It's exactly the same process, but we're now expanding it out into creating your course, program, or workshop. So what are the bonuses you can offer to increase the appeal of your offer? What are the limiters that you could put in place? And what access will people get to you? Will you offer one-on-ones or will you offer that as an upsell? What can you also upsell inside the package? Is it a one-on-one session? Is it another mastermind? Whatever you could offer there. And we also, again, want to bring in testimonials. So if you have not done a course or a program before, you may wish to decide to run that as a lower cost, what we call a beta program. And for that, you would offer it as a lower cost. And then you would get some testimonials from that you could then use when you want to put it at your full price. And are there some guarantees that you will offer? Again, if you believe firmly in your offer and in the quality of your work and your experience, you could be perhaps offering some form of guarantee here as well. Again, that's up to you. And think about what price will your market bear. Then remembering that you might start off at a lower price, but that can grow over time as you build your audience, because you really do need to build your audience to be able to package up a program. So that covers the package principle. I know it's a significant amount of work, but I know there are some people in the course who are ready to package up what they have into a service or an offer or a program or a course. So I wanted to include that here today. The next step is to think about creating your sales funnel. So how do we actually ascend our audience through the process of getting to know us, through getting to that process of actually buying from us? And this is a really powerful segment of this course that I really want you to take good notes in here and spend some time thinking this one through, because it is a really, really critical process to help you learn how to create your leads and then turn them into customers. So I'm really showing you the process now in terms of how to build your business. So we've gone from creating your offer and your messages to now starting to think about, how do I create some leads and start building my business? So we do that through what's called a sales funnel. And this is really the process of moving your cold traffic into warm leads and then into becoming customers. So there is a sequence we do need to take people through. It is not just wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. It does need to be a process that you lead people through, because if we miss a step, then we'll lose people in the process, because it's all about building a relationship and you will lose the opportunity. And the steps I'm showing you today are based on human behavioral research, and they're also based on research that's been taken from looking at how animals behave in the wild and how they build relationships and so on and so forth. And what we know from all of this research is that, again, if we skip any step, we're going to lose the opportunity to be selling to and working with people. At this point, you may be thinking, I'm feeling uncomfortable about selling. Those little self-doubting questions might be coming on. I'm feeling a bit uncomfortable about selling. I really want to highlight here, this is where we come from our place of authentic marketing, about moving from selling, and this is about moving from selling to serving in your mind. So I want you to really think about yourself as you're serving your audience at your highest capacity. And if you're in this program and if you're a heart-centered, purpose-driven entrepreneur, which I think you are because you're here, then if you are serving your audience, if you know what problems they face and you believe you've got a good solution to offer them, then you are absolutely, you should be offering that service to those people. They're missing out if they don't get that service from you. So please see your service as an offering that you've developed with love and devotion for those people that you're serving. And when you move into this space of serving and supporting people with solving their problems, the whole process of marketing and selling becomes so much more smooth, because it's coming from the right place. You're coming from that authentic, very ethical place. And that's what I think all of us are motivated by is that ethics and authenticity. So let's have a look at this sequence of the sales funnel. And again, I've got a worksheet for you in the members area that I'll show you, and it steps you through these steps. So the first step of any sales funnel sequence is to build awareness with a particular group of people. And I'm going to explain this in a little bit more detail in a moment. I'll just show you the steps, then I'll step through them. Then we need to move from awareness to engaging people in some way. Then we need to get them to subscribe to us, probably subscribe to our freebie, which is also called our opt-in or our free gift. We then need to convert our audience into buying from us. Then we need to keep them excited through buying. Then we want to ascend them through our value ladder, which I'm going to show you in a little while. Then we want our audience to advocate for us. And then at the top of the pyramid is we want our audience members, they've bought from us, they're great customers, we want them to promote for us. So I've got a worksheet in the members area, and this takes you through that, but I'll just explain this a little bit more now. So in terms of examples, if we look at awareness, so we would build awareness through things like our social platforms. So this is where we have our Facebook business pages, where we might be, where we would have our website, where we would have different platforms, maybe Instagram, Pinterest, depending on your audience. Once we've built awareness with people, we could be operating in Facebook groups. Once we built that awareness, we've got basically, if you like, a home base where people can become aware of us and can gather around us in some way. We then want to go out and we want to start engaging. We want to engage in Facebook groups. We might have our own Facebook group, or we might be operating in other Facebook groups. We would definitely want to be doing Facebook Lives, and I've given you access to the Facebook Live challenge. And we want to be doing email marketing where we're actually engaging with our audience regularly through their email inboxes. People still use email marketing. It still works very well. It still gets results. So it is an important method of engagement with your audience. After we've done some engagement, we want to encourage people to subscribe to us in some way, to get onto our email list in some way. But basically, we want to give something of value so that in exchange we can then receive their email address. So an opt-in, this is where we prepare something called an opt-in, which is what I'll be sharing with you next week in terms of how to build that. But your opt-in, and this is also known as a lead magnet, as a free gift, a freebie, content upgrade. It's got so many different names, but whatever it is, you'll need to create an opt-in so that people can then get something of value so that you can get their email address from them. And this is showing commitment. And this is the first stage. By people joining our Facebook group, that's a level of commitment. The next level of commitment is to have them to opt in some way to our mailing list. The next step is to then encourage those people, once they've gotten to know us and once we've built our know, like and trust, and this can take some time, we then want to encourage our audience to convert, so to buy something from us. So we're going to offer them a product, and it could be a low-cost product, what we call a tripwire, and it then could become a higher-cost product. But I want you to be really aware here that this is a sequence that we need to go through, and we need to spend some time, really good quality time, building our audience before we can expect to sell to them. We need to build our audience so that, at two levels, we need to build our audience so we have a big enough group of people who are willing to buy from us, because at any one time, about 2% of people are ready to buy, 56% are poised, and the balance of that are not there. They could be tire kickers, but they're not really that interested. So that's the sort of stats that we're dealing with. So we need you to have a good size audience, a good size following on your social platforms before you can be expecting to do a lot of selling, particularly online. I'm talking about the online space here. So we want to have a good audience in place so that you can then sell. And the other thing that we want to do in this time is we want to build our know, like and trust factor. So we really want to be doing a lot of Facebook Lives, posting regularly, giving a lot of free content, a lot of value so that people can see the benefit of who we are. They can get to know us, they can get to like us, and they get to trust us enough to buy from us. And that's step 4, is they make some sort of a purchase from us. Then from there, we want to really we've got to deliver on our promise. So we've got to really excite our audience by delivering really well to them to a very, very high standard. Then the next step, once we've delivered the first product, my plan for you would be that you would then have a next step in your product, service or cycle so that people can then go to the next logical step with you. And I'm going to show you in a minute what that looks like. And then the next step is we want people to then move from going to that next level with you to really start advocating for you, recommending you to others. And to be frank, after your first purchase, they can start recommending you to others. They don't need to go up the line there, but that advocacy could start then. And then typically when your customers have been with you for a while and they really know, like and trust you and love what you're helping them with, then they will start promoting you, and you can offer them things like affiliate programs and things like that. So that's our sales funnel sequence. And I guess here what I'd like to say to you is it's really important that you have an aligned sales funnel that you feel comfortable with. So there are a lot of done-for-you programs out there that say, well, just do this, this, and this, and then you'll get customers. What I really want to highlight here is that from an authentic marketing perspective, I want you to really, really look at the sequence that is going to suit you. So which social platforms suit you? Which social platforms do you like to be on? Do you like the visual nature of Instagram and Pinterest, or do you like doing Facebook Lives more? You'll have a natural tendency and a leaning towards one social platform. Get really good on that. Build your audience really strongly on that, because your excitement and energy around that platform will really come through to your audience. Likewise with your engagement. Engage in a way that works best for you. So you might love interacting in Facebook groups, or you might like doing Facebook Lives, or you might like to do a podcast. You might like to do a blog series or a vlog series. There's a whole range of ways that you could be engaging with people. But again, I want to really highlight, choose the engagement methodology that works best for you, that feels right for you, that feels good for you. Likewise with your opt-in, create an opt-in that works for you. You might have seen people do, you might have seen others do opt-ins that are ebooks, or you might have seen cheat sheets, or you might have seen videos, or you might have seen meditations. Just work out the style of opt-in that suits you and that will suit your audience. Again, we've done our audience research, so we're willing to be very, very clear about what our audience wants and how they want to consume that opt-in. So again, think about their lifestyle habits, how do they live, how will they consume information, and make sure that that opt-in suits their needs. The next step is to really convert. So create, a product that's going to meet your audience's needs. Again, what did your audience research show you that was a concern for your audience? Create a product that delivers on that. Then deliver on that and ascend, and then advocate and promote. But again, with each of these steps, I really want to encourage you to do this in a way that feels right for you. And if it doesn't feel right or in alignment with you, then don't do it. And I can absolutely promise you my experience has been when I've done things that didn't feel right, they didn't work. But when I've done things that felt right and aligned with me and that I had a plan around, it absolutely sang. It was a completely different experience. So just think about that sequence. Now, the next important thing I wanted to show you in here is to explain to you about our value ladder. So what is a value ladder? What is that all about? What this is a value ladder is the progressive range of offers that you will make to your customers. So coming from something for free all the way up into, higher and higher price programs. So I want you to think about what your value ladder could be. Again, you don't have to have it set in stone now, particularly if you're starting out in business, but I'd like you to think about the path or the journey that you could take your customers on. And each step of the ladder, you could be solving a specific problem. So I'd like you to really think about this as a sequential process. And what this means is that it takes the pressure off you having to put all of your good stuff in that first program. It allows you to actually step people through a logical process of getting to know you. So it's the tool that you then use to ascend your customers through your funnel. So from that step, if I go back and we look here, so this is the tool. You're actually creating your value ladder from where you're subscribing to converting, exciting, ascending. That is your value ladder. I'm just showing it to you in a different way. So I'll just go through and another thing that I wanted to say here is please be flexible. If you're starting out, it may not be clear to you. Just listen to your audience and build what they want. Just go with what they want. Poll them, ask them questions. Continue with this piece of audience research that you've done at the beginning of this course. That is not the first and last time you'll be doing your audience research. I'd really love to encourage you to continually talk to your audience, continually ask them what they need, what are they looking for, because then when you know that, and as you get to know them better and as they get to know you better, they can then say more specifically what it is that they're looking for. I'd just like to show you here a value ladder. This is of a lovely online art teacher that I have worked with, and I've bought her courses. And this is a sample of her work. So basically you get access to a free tutorial. Then she provides a short introductory course that's a low cost price. And these short intro courses can be anywhere, say, between $7 and $47. You may then want to move to a membership site where that could be, $20 to $50 a month, depending on your audience. It could be more, depending on your audience. Then you might want to offer live workshops in your local area. And again, the order could be different. You might want to do short intro course, then local workshops, and then the membership site. Again, this is going to be dependent on what you want. And then you might want to offer workshops overseas. So again, be flexible. This is just an example to show you what a value ladder looks like and how you could progress someone through this process. And this, interestingly, is the ladder that I see a lot of. I really love doing art, and it's something that I really enjoy. And so I've done quite a few online courses, and I follow quite a few online teachers. And this is pretty much the value ladder that they all use. And it works for them. It's a really good process, and it works. So just think about how you will send your customers through your funnel. What are the steps that they would love to take with you? And just really think about those things. So in terms of content today, Next week we're going to focus on creating your opt-in, and in terms of then our summary tasks for this week, there are a few things to do. So create your key messages, map out your package if you want to. Now, this mapping out your package is not critical right now. I would prefer I'll go through the tasks we have to do, and then I'll talk about what I think is most important. Map out your sales funnel and then prepare your value ladder. What I'd like you to think, if I was to say to you, what are the key priorities for this week? I would say create your key messages, map out your sales funnel, and prepare your value ladder in some way, shape or form. Mapping out your package is something that you can do at a later date, but I put it in here because I know that some people are ready for that right now, and I wanted to honour those people. But basically, the key things are, and the number one thing this week, if you don't have any other time, please focus on creating your key messages, and really we'll work on those. And then in the next Q&A session, I'd really like to encourage you to bring your key messages to that, and we can work through those. Or you can book a one-on-one with me separately if you want to do some more work on that. But I'd like you to be thinking now about what your sales funnel could look like and what your value ladder could look like. So those are the things I'd really focus on. In terms of your package for your course or your workshop, that is something that can wait until a bit later. So and I just really want to highlight again, remember we're in the process of authentic marketing and selling. So I really want you to remember that you're moving your mindset. You're not selling anymore, you're serving your audience. So before we do questions, I might just now get out of this presentation, and we might just now focus on, I want to go and have a very, very quick look at our, where are my worksheets? At our worksheets. So basically, this is the key message worksheet here coming up. So our key messages here. So I've given you some instructions, and this will appear in your, I might just make this just a little bit bigger so it's easier for you to have a look at. There's some instructions here. But basically this is in your membership site. You'll be able to get access to this, and I've created A4 versions of this as well as A3. But basically with your key messages, you'll create this material here, and you'll see here, I have just highlighted, move this fellow over, the key message format. So how I help my audience, I help and this is, you'll note, this is very similar to your offer statement. In fact, this probably will be your offer statement in here. And then I've given you a space where you can write your supporting facts for your primary target audience. And then there's another space here for supporting facts for your secondary audience. So you might have a couple of different audiences that you're working with, so there's space to do that. Our next key message then focuses on the benefits. So the benefits, so when you work with me, use my service or product, whatever the benefits, so you can. And again, benefits, so you can. So real life examples there. So when you work with me, and then the benefits, I'll help you by or you'll know, etc. You'll know as a result of working with me. So again, message 2 is all around benefits. And then message 3 is why you do what you do. It's your philosophy, your key point of difference. So I've given you a couple of examples here. Again, I'm trying to make this as paint by numbers as possible. So we're known for, so I or we can, or we believe in, so we can, or we love doing, so we can, or I do that so I can, blah, blah, blah. So, I've given you some guidelines here, and you can meld this material with those other guidelines that I've given you in the PowerPoint, and you bring those two together, you're going to have some really cracker key messages. Again, if you need help with that, just let me know, and we've got time in the Q&A session next week to start looking at key messages. If you send them to me before the session, I'll have a quick review before the Q&A, and I'll make some live comments. And what we find when we do this is that everyone gets some value out of that. The next worksheet I wanted to share with you is the sales funnel worksheet. Okay, so this one's come up next, so we'll just make that one quite a bit bigger so you can see that. So this is what you'll do. So this is our 7 steps. So I've basically given, again, it's going to paint by numbers, so how will your audience become aware of you? So you'll put your ideas in here, so through Facebook, through Pinterest, whatever. Some of these supporting details or resources you think you might need for that. I think that's all I've got there. Yep. And then how will they engage with you? So your ideas on that engagement. The next step is subscribe. What is the first thing they will opt in for? This is the freebie. So that's the freebie. how will you convert? What might they like to buy from you? How will you excite them? What will encourage them to stick with you? So it might be another offer or a bonus or whatever. How will you ascend them? How will you encourage them to advocate? And how will you encourage them to promote you? So again, what I'm probably most interested in this for you to be working on, I'm definitely interested in you to be working on step 1, 2, 3, 4. And, you know, those are the key things that I would really like you to think about in terms of your value ladder. But I just want to also highlight, this takes some time to build know, like, and trust. It's something that as you develop a program or a course, it does take time. You need time to develop an audience. I would say at least a few months to get enough people onto your mailing list and enough people into your Facebook group to make this the process of selling worthwhile. But I want you to be aware of the funnel so that you can know the steps you've got to take. And then it really is, do the steps that I'm showing you here, and I promise you, you will get the results that you're looking for. And then our third worksheet is our package principle worksheet. So this again is just basically highlighting the steps of that package process. So transformation, what's the difference your program will make in one sentence or less. So that's a lot of discipline there. And then as you do that, you might come up with other ideas for other courses or packages. Just drop them in there and you can then do this process again for them all over there. The next step is the journey. So what are the steps you'll take people through? Do this as a brainstorming process for that journey. And again, you might make some notes about what supporting resources you could give people here. Like it could be step 1 could be discovery, and you might just do a discovery worksheet. So you'd write that over there. Appeal. So this is a really important step. And if you do this step well, it's really going to make your sales process so much easier. So what are the outcomes, benefits, and names of each step? So step 1, what will the outcome be that I would get? What will be the benefits of that? So the outcome is what I will physically get. So at the end of week 1 of Authentic Offers, the outcome was that you would have a process to develop your zone of genius and start your audience research process. What are the benefits of that? You've got alignment and clarity with your business, and you have got a proven process that you will know works to do your audience research. And then the name of that, and my name was for that step was purpose. And then here you could just note in supporting resources. So you do this process for each step of your process, and I would recommend typically, I mean, you could have even 3 steps in your process, but again, make it a simple step-by-step logical flow. You could have 3 steps, you could have 5 or 7. I think often 5 works quite well because that allows us to step things out and to show people what it is that we need to do. Then branding, what will you call your system? And we want you to potentially then become known for this program. So this needs to be quite a nice name that you can, Jen Ramsey, she's all about authentic offers. So we want that brand to be Authentic Offers and Marketing. So we want the name of that program to really, really resonate with people. And then what do we do to elicit a yes? So bonuses, limiters, access. So all of those things we've covered before. What can you upsell? What are the testimonials, guarantees, and price? So again, another very, very comprehensive worksheet. But with this one, I don't want you to get too, oh my God, I've got so much to do there. I'd like you to focus. It's here as a resource for you. It's valuable for some people in their journey right now, maybe not so valuable for others. You can come back to that in a month or 2. What I'd really like you to focus on is your messaging and then creating your sales funnel. So I think that was what I wanted to share now. I might now then come back to any questions that you might have. I know there was a lot of material. There's like sort of 3 components of today, but I just wanted to meet everyone's needs in terms of making sure that everyone's getting what they need this week. So questions, I'm open for business.
Gosh, I thought it was fantastic. I really am ready for this part of the program, I think. It was really funny this morning because I was wanting to sit down and start looking at some copy on my website, and I kept getting distracted. Like so many things came in and took me away, and it was just so frustrating. But now I realise I need to do this work first. And even though, like I say, I've done it before, it just hears so much more, and I'm feeling much clearer about the messages. Like I really like, so of course I've got all my screenshots. So each key message you have supporting, I just have to put my head around it. So you have supporting information.
You do.
So when you write that, so I know if you wrote it on a sales page, you've got more room and you can flesh things out a bit. If you're doing it with a, like let's say for example, I did a Facebook ad yesterday and I mucked around with the format a little bit. In the end, I started off by saying, I put all the benefits first, so 3 benefits basically, and then a little bit about process after that. So if you had your key messages like, in that format with the supporting evidence, how do you format that sort of an ad?
Well, that's a really good question, and I think we've got to be sympathetic to the format that we're choosing. So in this case, a Facebook ad, we can't just go boom, 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 here are my key messages. What we're wanting there, and it's a really good question, what we're wanting there is we're wanting to get the essence of those messages into the ad. So we're not going to be able to use the words, but this is where it's the energetic essence. And when we're thinking about the format of a Facebook ad, and again, it depends what type of ad you're doing, if it's an engagement ad or if it's a lead generation ad or if it's a hardcore selling ad, it's got a different purpose. So, just think about the type of ad. What's your intention for this ad? What do you want it to do? Do you want it to bring people into your Facebook group? Or do you want to sell something? Because they're 2 different styles of ads. But again, so there's the first question to ask yourself. The second one is, obviously with the Facebook ad, we don't have a lot of time. So it's about what's that key takeout. So with the Facebook, what's the key takeout? And then what's energetically do I want to then have in there? So the key takeout could be, I'm just trying to give you an example. So the key takeout could be, I'm just trying to think. Why don't we actually, I might even just show you, it's not a Facebook ad, I might even show you, I'll just do a promo that I did for a workshop that I'm running, just a small paid workshop I'm running later in the month. And I might
maybe I could also find the ad.
Yeah, well, if you want to find your ad, actually that's probably more effective. Let's have a look at your ad rather than looking at my stuff. If you want to find your ad, we can share your screen to me.
Let's have a look. Yeah, I'll see if I can, because then you might be able to.
Because see, the words will take, again, the purpose of the ad, but the words you've got a headline in an ad, you've got an image in an ad, and then you've got your sort of subtext. So the image could convey the image of your experience, but you don't have to say the words. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I'll let you find that.
I'm going to
start talking.
Market day. It won't take me a minute. It should be here any minute.
That's okay.
Oh, of course it's not. Weird. Hang on, I'll try it again. Here we go. That one. Oh, everything's slow today. It's probably because I'm open with you. Radio.
Do you want which
I've got it.
Oh, you've got it?
It's been heart-centered. I've got the ad, so I can share with you. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's great. If you've got it there. Yep, absolutely. So I'll just, you should be able to go share screen.
Yeah, I can do that. Here we go.
Beautiful.
So this is Market Day and Heart-Centered, and it was an ad that I did in a couple of different groups.
Okay, so what I would be doing here, so it's you're allowing space to do, okay, so what I would be doing here is I would be talking about what their issues are up front. So I'd say something along, hey, heart-centered, I love how the language you've used, that's great. My market day, hey, I'd almost start, I like this idea of experiencing something you've never experienced before, but I think what's more important is to talk about what their issues are. So, hey, hey, heart-centered ladies, are you feeling frustrated by your lack of progress in business. Maybe you've tried lots of courses, explored mindset practices, and have pretty good at how to run your business, but yet you still feel stuck. Let me, if you want to move from feeling stuck, then I'd like to experience something you've never experienced before, an energetic business adjustment and alignment. And I think for this, Josie, what I would do an analogy. I would do the analogy of, imagine how it feels after you've been to the physio or chiropractor, how beautifully aligned and calm and centered you feel. That's what I can do for your business. That's what this
that's
energy
a really good idea.
So give an analogy, because for me, like as soon as I saw that, I think, oh yeah, where else do I get adjustments? Oh, chiropractic. And you could almost even
good idea.
Yeah, you could do that, and then you can go into your benefits and so on and so forth. What I would, and you've given some credentials here. You could almost I'd even have a simpler sentence. I help women to blah blah blah, and then you could put in the certified body talk practitioner. Here in your image, if we go to your image, I think, and particularly in heart centered, because it's such an enormous group, I would actually get working on that chiropractic adjustment idea, and you can work. You just have to see what works.
I know what you're saying. Yeah.
You always bring in a picture of a spine, or my husband last week was so funny. He was at where was he? He was at I don't know, Austria. He was somewhere, and he took a photo of himself smiling next to a skeleton, and it was a really funny image, but it was very eye catching. So that's something that you could do. So that's how I would
use a metaphor analogy.
Yeah, because it's an adjustment, and because it's new, people would go, what on earth is that? But I would I would do that. And I would also, you need to bring up you need to address their problems first rather than jumping into your solution.
Yeah. I had the problem. There were two things. First of all, I wasn't really clear about the purpose, because I realized that really what I'm doing now is just building profile in the market. So I'm not really expecting sales. I'm just putting stuff out there to keep being in front of people.
Beautiful.
And so the ad was, when I first put it up, I put it up with the, aggravating the problems first. But then I jumped ship, if you like, for the purpose of the ad. And I went to profile building, which was very successful, because all the responses were all, wow, that's really exciting, JC, and you do things really differently, and how you look at things is really different. And so it served that purpose. But when you said here, be clear about the purpose of the post, then I realized, that's because I got them confused on that post. And so I love that kind of distinction, because that will focus my mind. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So if it's really selling, we're going to aggravate the problem, because we want to solve people's problems. We want them to identify.
That's right. And they have to, for them to even think that they need an energetic alignment, they've actually got to go, yes, she's talking my language. Yes, I feel stuck, or I've got this problem. And again, go back to your audience research and look at the language they use. What were the problems they said that they had? And really, really zero in on that. And
beautiful.
Maybe if I just show you what I did yesterday I'll just go, let's go in here. This is one I've just, I'll go into heart-centered. Actually, I'll be too hard to find. I won't take the time. But basically, and have your key message, the problem that you're solving, upfront and personal on your image as well. So another thing too is, because we've got, and that's sort of more, I guess, a Facebook group promo. If you're doing a smaller Facebook ad, you've got a little bit less space again to deal with. So again, with your 3 key messages, the image might actually demonstrate experience. The image could actually be you working with someone, or doing, working with someone, and that goes, oh, she works with people. The picture paints 1,000 words. Do you know what I mean?
Beautiful. Yeah, because I prefer to do a much smaller text. I don't like the big text really for Facebook ads, because who reads them? Especially in heart-centered, if you don't grab them straight away. But I never thought of using the images actually portraying part of the message, which is a really good idea. I've always thought of it as being like a summary of the message.
Oh, I've got someone, how novel, I've got someone at my door. Would you mind if we just paused for a minute? I'll just pause. If you two ladies want to talk to yourselves, and then if you've got any questions, come back to Zoom recording. So thank you, Sarah. Thank you for that little break. Well, so Mary, it sounds like things are going well for you as well, which is really, really good. Any other questions at all from today's content from either of you?
No, I really think that clarity is really important for me.
Great, fantastic. Well, there was a bit there, as I said, take it at your pace. I've highlighted what the most important thing is, but the messaging is the key thing. It sounds like, Josie, it's a perfect time for you, and I think then the next step of the package principle is definitely going to be good for you as well. For you, Mary, just working on your messaging and your offer was going to be really, really valuable. So I will we'll close there, and I'll look forward to seeing you on Tuesday at 12:15 for our Q&A. So, and feel free, if you want to bring your messages, bring material into workshop. I'm really ready to start doing some workshopping with you as well. So that's
I'm sorry I'm going to be missing it.
Yeah, I know. Oh, well, we'll catch you up on the flip side. One of the things that I've thought about, just because I have got I'm away for that 10 days in November, I'm actually going to deliver the last content. There's going to be an implementation week. There's always a sort of a workshop week where we're going to have, but I'm actually going to deliver the opt-in module next week, and then you're going to have basically 2 weeks to get all of the material together, and then we can do a show and tell and a workshop on the last couple of sessions, which will be the last class and the last Q&A. So I think that'll be good value for everybody. So,
yeah, I'm quite happy that you're doing opt-in next week, because I've got my opt-in handled. And it's actually generating a lot of interest. I've got a lot of people coming on my list with it. So I feel that part of it I've got managed. So I'm quite lucky.
You're not too worried about that's right.
Yeah. So I managed to redo my opt-in that I did the first time, but I'm really happy with it now. And people are coming back to me saying it's really lovely. And
fantastic.
So that's good.
That's really, really good. Well, that is great. Well, you both take it easy, and we'll look forward to talking to you soon, talking to you on Tuesday.
Okay.